Okay, when you think about trading, what's the picture that immediately pops into your head? Is it that sort of sleek image, maybe someone on a yacht, laptop open, just conjuring money out of thin air?
Yeah, that's a common one.
Or maybe the idea that there's some, secret God tier system, something you can find in a few books, and suddenly you're rich overnight. We kind of get fed this narrative, don't we, that trading's the ultimate shortcut. But how much of that popular idea actually holds up when you look at the reality of the market?
Oh, unfortunately, that popular view, it couldn't really be further from the truth. And I say that pretty unequivocally. Professional trading is genuinely one of the most difficult professions you could possibly choose.
Wow, okay.
The stark reality, and it is stark, is that the proportion of traders who are truly successful, consistently making a living, actually growing wealth, it's exceptionally small. Tiny, really, compared to the huge majority who, well, ultimately fail.
That's a really powerful statement to kick us off with. It kind of instantly flips the perspective. So our mission for this deep dive, it seems incredibly clear then. We're going to systematically unpack, 6 crucial truths?
That's right. 6 key things
about what it actually takes to become a professional trader. And these insights, they're not just theory, right? They come from an expert like yourself with over a decade of actual experience.
Guiding hundreds of traders, yeah. Seeing what works and what really doesn't.
And the idea is if you can embrace these truths faster, you're much more likely to become professional yourself, avoid those common traps.
Exactly. Skip some of the pain.
Okay, let's unpack this. So let's start by taking down maybe one of the biggest myths. You hear it constantly. This endless search for God-tier trading systems.
Oh, yeah. The holy grail.
Exactly. Advertised with these just mind-boggling numbers. 90% win rates or 95% accuracy. And they're often sold as, secret methods from tracking market makers or using super advanced algorithms. It really feels like this magic bullet is just around the corner.
It does. It's very seductive.
But is there any truth to that, even a little bit? Or is it just always marketing hype?
Look, it's almost always pure marketing.
Yeah.
100%. And it's a huge trap. It wastes so much time, so much money. Let me be absolutely clear on this. Genuine professional traders, and I mean the really respected global experts, they typically operate with a win rate of only maybe 50 to 60%.
50 to 60, that's almost a coin flip.
Pretty much. Think about that. So what really makes the difference for these pros isn't some magical, hyper-accurate system. Their focus. It's overwhelmingly on solid risk management, smart money management.
Which isn't just about how much you bet. Yeah.
No, exactly. It's also about how you scale your positions relative to your capital. And maybe the most crucial piece, having the correct trading mindset. That means, seeing a losing trade or even a streak of them, not as some kind of personal failure,
right,
but just as a statistical thing you need to manage. Like a good poker player handles a bad run of cards. It's part of the game.
That really shifts the whole paradigm for a lot of people, I bet. It completely changes what you should even be aiming for. So, okay, if a perfect system isn't the goal, what is the actual secret then for consistent profit for the pros?
Well, that takes us straight to the second truth. It's the power of risk-reward.
Risk-reward. Okay, explain that simply.
In simple terms, it's just about what you stand to gain for every, say, dollar or pound or bat you're willing to risk.
All right, like betting 100, how much can you potentially get back?
Exactly. You risk 100 units. What's your target gain if the trade works out? And this is where the real portfolio growth comes from. Think about it.
Yeah.
Even with that 50% win rate we just talked about.
Yeah.
If your average risk-reward ratio is consistently, let's say, 1 to 2.
Meaning for every 100 you risk, you aim to make 200.
Precisely. You can be consistently profitable. You lose 100 on one trade, you make 200 on the next. Even winning just half the time, you're still ahead.
I see. Because the wins are bigger than the losses.
Exactly. And this is like the complete opposite of that common amateur mistake, which is trying to bet heavily on maybe 1 or 2 trades, hoping to get rich quick.
The big gamble?
Yeah, the desperation play. What truly leads to substantial growth is that consistent attention to your stats, your risk reward, and just maintaining it steadily. Trade after trade, week after week. It's about a series of smart, calculated moves over time, not one lottery ticket.
That makes so much sense. It's more about the process than the prediction. Okay, so if we're not chasing perfect systems, we're not making huge risky bets, what's the next big pitfall, the next trap aspiring traders often fall into?
Oh, that would definitely be obsessing over market prediction. Trying to nail the exact highs and lows for the perfect entry, the perfect exit.
Yeah, everyone wants to buy at the bottom and sell at the top.
Of course. It's a natural urge. But I can tell you straight up, forecasting the market like that, it is not the most important part of trading. Not even close. The number one focus, the paramount thing for any professional, has to be limiting your risk. Specifically, limiting it to no more than, say, 1 to 2% of your total portfolio on any single trade.
1 to 2%. That sounds quite small.
It is. And the reason is simple. Survival. Survival comes first, always. If you take big hits early on, especially if you don't have a huge amount of capital, it becomes incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible, to claw that money back.
You dig yourself into a hole.
Exactly. You should never, ever come into this thinking, okay, I've got 10,000 pounds, I'm going to risk it all to try and double it fast. It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
If you don't respect risk, fundamentally respect it, you are very likely to join that 90% who fail. The ones who, blow up their accounts.
Lose everything.
Yeah, lose it all. Or they just keep having to put more money in, chasing losses, never actually getting ahead.
That idea of respecting risk, it raises a really important question, actually. And it's something that applies way beyond trading, doesn't it? I'm talking about discipline. Consistency. These things are vital everywhere, right? Sports, music, building a business.
Foundational.
So how does that universal truth, that need for discipline, apply specifically here? In the unique world of trading?
Well, let's define the amateur mindset first. Often it's this belief that the money will just sort of appear, the portfolio will just grow magically without focused effort, without keeping detailed records, without doing what might feel like, complicated tasks. They treat it a bit like a hobby, maybe, or a game.
You dip in and out when they feel like it.
Right. Whereas professional discipline, that involves both specific trading discipline and just overall life discipline, really. For instance, I've worked with tons of successful gold traders. They'll often set very specific trading hours. Say, I trade from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. every single weekday, and they stick to it religiously.
They don't just blow it off if friends call.
No. Because it's their job. It requires that level of commitment. And here's the kicker. If you treat the market like it's just a game, well, it's going to give you game-like returns. Meaning often very little. Or maybe even consistent losses. But that serious, disciplined commitment, the kind professionals show day in, day out, that results in serious profits. The market rewards consistent, focused effort. It doesn't reward casual interest.
That's a really powerful distinction. Treat it seriously, get serious results.
Yeah.
Okay, now this next truth, it feels kind of counterintuitive maybe, but you're saying it's absolutely essential for staying sane, if nothing else. Even with a good, well-defined, profitable system, you will hit losing streaks.
Oh, absolutely. Guaranteed.
Like maybe 5, 6, even 7 losses in a row. This isn't a sign your system is broken necessarily.
Not necessarily at all. It's an inherent statistical part of trading. You simply cannot overlook it or wish it away. Probability ensures it will happen.
So how do you handle that when the losses pile up?
Okay, so the practical advice is this. First, you need to objectively figure out, are the current market conditions genuinely just not right for my particular system right now? Or, less commonly, has the market actually fundamentally changed in some way?
What would be an example of unfavorable conditions?
Well, say your system is built for catching trends, strong up or down moves, but suddenly the market goes really choppy, just moving sideways, consolidating.
Right, no clear direction.
Exactly. That kind of environment can chop up a trend-following system. So if you determine it's likely just a temporary rough patch, which honestly it often is, the single most effective thing to do is reduce your position size.
Cut back on how much you're risking per trade.
Precisely. Don't keep hammering away with full risk when your system clearly isn't vibing with the current market. It's like trying to sail in a hurricane with full sails up.
Makes sense.
Then you only go back to your normal full position size when things look better. Either the market conditions clearly align with your system again, or you see your actual win-loss stats demonstrably improving.
Understanding that statistical side must be so crucial for just mental resilience, right?
Hugely. It stops you from panicking and ditching a perfectly good system just because you hit an inevitable drawdown.
It keeps you in the game. Okay, so what does this all really mean when we pull these truths together? We've talked systems, risk-reward, prediction, discipline, losing streaks, which brings us to our final truth. And it sounds like a bit of a paradox, actually. You said trading is easy money that is the hardest to earn. Talk about accessibility first. It is easy to get into, isn't it? Anyone can do it, really, regardless of gender, age.
That's the easy part, exactly. The barriers to entry are incredibly low compared to many professions. You don't need a specific degree. You don't need massive infrastructure.
Tapped in some capital, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's hard, incredibly hard, precisely because it demands that unwavering adherence to the correct principles and having the right mindset. That's what leads to consistent profit and, eventually, true wealth accumulation. It's not about finding some complex secret. It's about applying simple, fundamental truths with incredible rigor and consistency.
So let's quickly recap those essential mindset components then.
Yeah.
What are the core pillars?
Okay, so you need, 1, a simple trading system doesn't need to be super precise, just needs an edge. 2, an appropriate risk-reward ratio, ensuring your wins are bigger than your losses on average. 3, excellent risk management, that 1-2% rule, protecting your capital above all else.
Got it.
4, strong discipline, sticking to your plan, your rules, your hours, even when it feels uncomfortable or boring or scary. And 5, critically, cultivating that mental toughness, the ability to expect, accept, and navigate those inevitable losing streaks without losing your head. If you internalize these truths, truly get them, it helps you avoid becoming just another victim of all that misleading marketing. And instead, you put yourself on the path to achieving genuine, sustainable financial success through trading.
And so, yeah, we've really come full circle, moved from those common illusions, the yacht, the magic system, to the starker realities. The central message of this whole deep dive seems crystal clear. Success in trading isn't really about chasing some elusive perfect system or getting rich quick.
Not at all.
It's much more about mastering those internal things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Discipline, how you manage risk, and fundamentally cultivating the right mindset.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, these exact same principles, they're remarkably applicable everywhere, achieving success in almost any challenging field that demands consistency and resilience, whether that's learning an instrument, building a business from scratch, even getting physically fit.
Yeah.
The underlying requirements, discipline, managing setbacks, focusing on process, consistency, they're strikingly similar. It's a universal pattern, really.
Yeah.
That is a powerful thought to leave everyone with. Makes you think, what aspect of your own goals or challenges, maybe completely outside of finance or trading, what could benefit from applying this kind of approach? Discipline, statistical, risk managed, rather than just chasing a perfect quick fix or that instant gratification, something to mull over. What mindset do you really need for long-term sustainable success in whatever you're pursuing?